So one of the alternate names that Richard Truscott has for the period from around 1600 to 1750 is the Theatrical Age. And there are three main reasons. So in this video, we're going to deal with the first one, which is where music was made. Before 1600, music typically happened, literate music typically happened in two places, at church or at home. So the church was traditionally wealthy, and it was also the home for the most educated folks at the time. So there was plenty of complex and interesting music to accompany church services. As far as music for the home before 1600 goes, there were two types of home. So if you were one of those who fight, an aristocrat, a noble, whatever, then home in this case meant court, right? You would have musicians on your payroll, and they would provide music on demand, whether it was instrumental music, vocal music, relatively simple music, like music for dinner, or big and complicated music for special events like a wedding or something like this. Now, if you were part of the middle class, home meant home, and the music was for fun with family and friends. So you'd have some buddies over for dinner, and afterwards break out the wine and music books, and you would all sing together. The big change after 1600 was the appearance of public concerts. So this happened first with opera. Originally, opera had been a kind of court entertainment for special events. But in the 1630s or so, some businessmen realized they could make a lot of money if they sold tickets to opera to anyone who could buy it. You didn't need an invitation, you didn't have to be noble or anything like that. This had a big impact. The selling of tickets to the public had a big impact on many aspects of opera, from the plot to the style to other stuff. And we talked about this a little bit in music appreciation if you were in that class, but we're going to get into it more in chapter 14 and later, kind of throughout the semester. Later, in the 1700s, public concerts of combined vocal and instrumental music, not opera, but just vocal works with instruments or instrumental music on its own, they appeared as kind of as a substitute for operas during Lent, when you weren't supposed to be having a great time during Lent, so opera was sort of banned. So during Lent, you would get these other concerts that weren't opera, but were still public. Anyone could buy a ticket. All of these kinds of opera, court opera, public opera, or concerts, court opera, public opera, and the public concerts, they were performed in actual theaters, which was a new thing. And so this is part of why Truscott suggests the theatrical age for this period, because of the way that the venues moved from church and home to theaters. We'll talk about another reason for the theatrical age in the next video.